Adam is a painter in his 30s who resides in New York with his partner, Marklyn. In the opening scene, we see Adam paint blue, which represents calmness, and reliability, which are his characteristics. He and Marklyn are enjoying the night with their friend, Cammy, and her date. They talk about new date. Before they went on the date, he wanted to tell her something very important but wasn't able to. Adam immediately asks her if her date told her that he needed or wanted to tell her something. Marklyn and Cammy get confused by this question, but Adam quickly explains that if the word needed was used, then it's probably very urgent. This underlines Adam's perceptive nature. Cammy is scared by all of this, but at the same time, curiosity kills her, and she wants to find out what her date, Henry, has to tell her. He returns from the toilet and apologizes for being late and comments on how strange the Japanese toilets are. Cammy gets uncomfortable with this meaningless comment and tries to expand on Henry's comment, saying that Japanese culture is very deep and she wants to go there, but sadly, it makes everything even more uncomfortable. Meanwhile, all Henry does is look at his plate with a blank face. Cammy quickly brings up the question of whether Adam is still renting his house. He answers that he does and tells them the funny story he had experienced not so long ago. For Henry to be only focused on how much property he has, he even says it out loud, making everyone else's night painful. Soon they call the waitress and ask for a check. It turns out it's Adam and Marklyn's anniversary, so pay for the night. Henry, on the other hand, makes the waiter wrap up everyone's leftovers for him. The car arrives, and they leave. Adam and Marklyn are in disbelief that she somehow managed to find such a fine man for herself, laughing at the fact that she always knows how to pick the right guy. They start strolling around the streets. Suddenly, a gay rights activist stops them to ask some questions, but Adam refuses the offer because he wants to spend as much time with Marklyn as possible. But kind-hearted Marklyn tells him that they are already gay, and as an apology for Adam's rude behavior, he takes a couple of pictures with him. Adam wants to ask Marklyn an important question. But before he can continue, he gets a kiss and forgets about the question completely as they proceed to enjoy their anniversary. Henry finally confronts Cammy. He slowly, over the course of 3 weeks, starts to fall in love with her, which is why he feels like the worst human being for not telling her that all this time he has been homeless. Cammy, caught off guard because she had not even in her wildest dreams expected that everything would turn out like this. Henry adds that he resides in a shelter. Still, Cammy doesn't believe what her ears are hearing because every time they met each other, Henry was always well dressed. But sadly for her, appearances can be deceiving, and it seems she only knows Henry superficially. Adam wakes up from his marvelous anniversary night. He goes out into the kitchen to eat food, but the well-dressed Marklyn stops him from eating the food. He says that first, he needs to take a couple of photos before they can enjoy the food. He runs a fashion blog and needs these pictures for commercials. Adam complains that they don't get to be normal human beings. They can't even enjoy their morning routine. Marklyn asks for Adam's help. Even though he doesn't like it, he is still supportive of his boyfriend, and takes a couple of pictures as Marklyn asked of him. Cammy and Haley are walking around the park. Cammy tells Haley everything about her new date. She isn't surprised at all because she always knew that Cammy has a talent for choosing the worst partners for herself. But what amazes her even more is that Cammy had slept with him. Cammy justifies herself by saying that he is more than just a homeless guy. He has a personality of his own, obviously lying to Haley and even herself because, in reality, she didn't bother herself enough to get to know him better, and now she just tries to calm herself down by rationalizing the whole deal. In the end, Cammy says that it will never happen again in her life. Adam is working on his painting, and Elizabeth keeps him company. He draws for Ravella, who then sells his paintings under her name for $100,000 apiece. Elizabeth is amazed by the fact that he is willing to work for someone else and have his artistic name taken away. Adam answers her vaguely, not giving the real reason behind his actions at all. He just says that he isn't the first person to do it. Elizabeth is furious because, while Ravella is getting richer with each painting she sells, Adam is barely able to make a living wage. She suggests that if Adam and Marklyn get married, his financial problems will be solved. He gets bothered because he doesn't want to take his money, even though being a couple means sharing and helping each other with whatever one needs. For him, marriage is a taboo subject. He thinks that it won't help anything. It's the opposite. His parents, his friends, and anyone around him who ended up getting married got divorced, and he has this lingering feeling that the same might happen to his relationship. Elizabeth counters his argument with her and Damon's, her fiancé's, example, saying that they have been engaged for 15 years, which is incomprehensible for Adam, an anomaly even. But before she continues her argument even further, he completely shuts down the subject, saying that he won't say another word about marriage. On the other hand, Marklyn and Damon are renovating the home. Everything isn't as perfect as Elizabeth thought about her relationship. Damon expresses sadness and disappointment about the fact that she doesn't want a child. He thinks that the only thing they lack is a baby. He stays silent for a couple of moments. Afterward, he teases Marklyn that he and Adam would be great parents, but Damon gets a cold response because Marklyn doesn't want a child. For him, it's an additional responsibility and problem that he will have to take care of, and his hands are already full with a grown-up baby, Adam. Marklin has a really busy day. He is working on his laptop when Adam drops by and tries to grab some attention for himself. Marklin says he has a lot of work to do, so Adam goes to another room. He behaves like a child, turns on music, grabs a chair, and imitates a flying superhero. This is enough for him to get Marklin's attention, or so he thought. As soon as they start kissing, Marklin's job once again interferes with them. Marklin stops kissing Adam and goes to retrieve the package that was delivered. Adam gets frustrated at Marklin for not getting enough attention. But Marklin just says that it isn't even the truth that they make love every day. Romantic mood died for Adam. He shuts down and waits for Marklin to return. He, like a child, expresses his frustration towards Marklin, saying that they don't even make love every day, to which he answers that sometimes all love needs is affection and nothing more. As soon as he finishes the sentence, he becomes completely absorbed in his work. Adam tries to help him but to no avail. Adam feels even worse when he finds out that Marklin paid his rent the previous day. Adam promises to return the money as fast as possible and starts packing up his bag. Meanwhile, Marklin continues working. When he gets a text from an unknown guy who sent him a shirtless picture, Adam returns to the room to say goodbyes. Marklin immediately hides his phone from him. They kiss each other, and he leaves. He then gets another text from Carl, who says that he needs him. Marklin just texts him back, okay, with a worried face. It turns out Marklin keeps many secrets from Adam, which can ruin their supposed perfect relationship. Haley is a home tutor. She is correcting Scott's essay like she always does. Scott confesses that he didn't get into Brown's college. Haley is shocked. She thinks that the essay they sent for applications was perfect. But she doesn't know that Scott sent the essay that he wrote himself and not the one Haley helped him with. She is confused, angry, and disappointed at the same time. Scott explains that he just wanted to see whether he would be able to do it on his own, and this makes Haley even angrier. She explodes at him. All the hard work she has done has been swept away just by one stupid decision. She even cries out that she knew he wouldn't be able to get into a college on his own. That's why his parents are paying her to tutor him 4 times a week. Scott breaks down after he hears Haley's harsh words. She realizes that she lost her cool and tries to calm him. But for Scott, this is an opportunity, and he leans forward to kiss her. Haley immediately stops him and doesn't give him a chance. In the end, she is his tutor, and Scott is still underage. Cammy and Henry are having dinner together at Cammy's home. She didn't stand by her word and still chose to date him. What's even weirder is that she let a stranger into her home. After she serves the dish, Henry takes the entire dish onto his plate and starts eating it like a savage. Cammy tries to take some of the food for herself too, but there's nothing on the table anymore. Henry compliments her that the food is delicious, but soon he gets confused by the spiciness. He gets scared, but Cammy calms him down, saying that it's just a feeling everyone gets after eating spicy food. As sad as it seems, they don't have a subject they can talk about. It's either the fact of how poorly Henry lived all these years or how the food tastes. Cammy then asks Henry if he can leave the house for one night because Haley and she are having a girls' night. Henry seems to easily agree with her demand, which surprises Cammy. She gets interested in what he will do, and he explains in great detail how a person can spend an entire night outside the home easily. It seems like his intentions are honest here. He wants to give Cammy time for herself, but in reality, he is trying to guilt-trip her into staying in the home, and it seems that Cammy bit the bullet. Marklin goes into the hospital. He enters the room, where a barely conscious man lies on a bed. It turns out it is Carl, who texted him some time ago. Carl, in excruciating pain, says thank you to Marklin because he came, and Marklin hushes him down. It seems that Carl was a very close person to him. Something might have even happened between them because, in the end, Carl is a part of Marklin's life that Adam doesn't know about. While he spends some time with Carl, Adam finishes his painting, reluctantly writes Ravella's initials on it, and packs it up for shipment. Haley calls Cammy. It seems she has been avoiding her calls throughout the day. Finally, she answers. Haley tried to get some additional information about the girls' night they will spend there, but to her surprise, Cammy says that she wants to go out and spend time there, although they had planned this quite some time ago. Haley gets suspicious of Cammy and asks if she is alone at home. She lies and says who would be there beside her, even though she was clearing Henry the entire time she was talking to Haley. It seems Henry is the reason she changed her mind. As soon as Haley hangs up, she hears knocking on the door. She opens it, and to her surprise, she sees a sweaty Scott in a tank top. He enters and immediately lights up candles on a small cake. Haley stops him and quickly sings him a happy birthday song. Scott puts out the candles and goes for a kiss, justifying himself by the fact that he turned 18. Haley hesitates. It's as if she is giving herself to temptation when she remembers that Scott's birthday is not today. Haley quickly returns to reality and stops the madness. Scott, on the other hand, starts having a tantrum like a child. He is obsessed with Haley and explains that he cannot be with her, and if it is not meant to be, his life has no meaning, so he tries to in an electrical oven. Of course, his attempt is as naive and childish as his entire character. Haley explains that he won't be able to himself like that, and she watches over him as he cries his heart out awkwardly, not knowing how to approach the situation because no matter what she does, Scott falls for her even more. The mood is heavy in the room. You can feel the tension in the air. Adam and Marklin are sitting completely silently, staring into nothingness. Their therapist admits that he hates the fact that he has to stop sessions like this, but he advises them that they can give the feeling they discovered today a chance to exist, or not if that's what their hearts will tell them. They leave the room, hug each other, and kiss. It seems the tension was immediately reduced and forgotten as soon as they stepped outside of that room. They sit on their bicycles and bet that whoever is last to get home will massage the winner. They start enjoying the road, and some people express their hatred toward them and even call them out in an offensive way, but they don't mind it at all because it's them against the world. Cammy and Henry are spending some time alone in their room. Henry is still eating food. Cammy remarks that it's his 5th meal. He jokes around with the fact that he still thinks that the food is making his tongue tingle, but he compliments Cammy's cooking skills and calls her the best. This sweetens up the mood, and they start kissing. Henry goes below the blanket and tries to pleasure her, but fails because a couple of minutes ago he ate spicy food, so his tongue sets Cammy ablaze. She quickly stops Henry, and they get into an argument and fight. Henry is extremely rude towards Cammy, so it's the last straw for her, and she tells him to leave his home. But as dumb as Henry is, he is still good at manipulation, so he manages to stay over at Cammy's home for one more night. Marklin and Adam return home. Adam was the winner of the bet. They grab drinks for each other. The same tension and nervousness returned that they had previously. They both apologize to each other for what they said in therapy. Both of them agree that this couple's therapy is pulling them apart rather than bringing them together. Adam is sad because when they first met each other things were easier and simpler, but now everything has changed, and he isn't finished with what he is saying. A notification sound echoes in the room, making Adam furious. He leaves the room, saying that he understands that it's Marklin's job, but it constantly gets in the way. Whenever they are alone at home or on a date, he is always on his phone. Marklin tries to calm Adam down by giving him the massage, and it seems to work out. Marklin addresses the fact that they have been dating for 5 years already and that it's time for the next step. Adam, on the other hand, doesn't even want to talk about the marriage, so he just answers him blatantly, as if he doesn't understand the meaning behind Marklin's words. Their relationship is slowly building toward a boiling point. Elizabeth and Adam are at his workshop. It turns out Elizabeth found out that Damon has been texting some younger girls. She thinks that the trust she had in Damon for 15 years is gone and destroyed and that their relationship won't have a future. She thinks that it's time to break up, and Adam tries to stop her, or at least stall time, before she calms herself down and does not make a mistake because she was angry. Alas, nothing helps because she has already made up her mind. She asks him if he ever gets jealous, and Adam answers that he does sometimes, but it's nothing serious or a reason for him to throw away his relationship. Elizabeth notices Adam's new painting. He tries to hide it away because it's a new project he has been working on for himself, and not for Ravella. Elizabeth encourages him, saying that it's the best thing he has done through the years. It seems like Adam is finally starting to work for himself and trying to change his way of life. Marklin arranged the date. He and Adam sit near the river. This was the very first place they met. Marklin takes out the basket, which is filled with cups, plates, food, and drink. He pours champagne, and they prepare the food for them to enjoy. He seems to be a little nervous. Adam mentions that Marklin wanted to talk about something. He shows Adam the picture of the apartment he wants to buy. He has already made an offer for it. Adam gets shocked and asks if they were ever going to discuss it because, at the moment, he doesn't have the funds to afford to buy a home. Marklin says that if he just sold the home his mother left him, he would have some money, but that isn't even the main problem because Marklin is willing to pay for everything. It's just that Adam is refusing his offer because of his pride and the fear of marrying him. He doesn't even know the answer himself. Because they don't have kids, all they have is each other, so Marklin wants them to have an easier life, but Adam is having self-doubt. He thinks he doesn't measure up to Marklin, which is not true at all. They once again arrive at a stalemate, addressing the problems they have in their relationship, but not going further to solve them. They just sit next to each other and drink their champagne, not saying anything more. Adam leaves for the gym and, afterward, swims in the pool. The exhibition started. Ravella gives a tour to random people to show them the paintings Adam drew. She is asked some vague, artistic questions about what she was feeling when she was drawing this painting. She, of course, gets confused by the question because the only thing this painting has that belongs to her is her initials. She lies and gives some hazy answers. Elizabeth is in the group of people who listen to Ravella's explanation. Marklin worries that she might say something, but Adam just doesn't care about it. He feels tired and disappointed by everything, and the only thing he has energy for is drinks, so he drinks cup after cup. Soon Haley and Cammy arrive at the exhibition. Elizabeth tries to ask provocative questions, as Marklin feared she would, but he quickly goes near her and makes her go away. Meanwhile, Adam just eats and drinks more, which embarrasses Ravella, and she asks Marklin to make Adam stop. Elizabeth and Adam are together in a hallway. Adam notices that she is unusually angry towards Ravella. He knows she never liked her, but Elizabeth has been to exhibitions like this in the past, so he asks what the real reason is. She confesses that Damon tries to go back into her life. He even apologized for what he did, and she now just doesn't know how to approach the situation. Damon was the man. She was beside him for 15 years, and she is torn apart by this uncertainty. Does she forgive him or not? They reunite with their friends. The night goes smoothly, but Adam is getting angrier and angrier with each second. They finally decided to leave the place. Marklin addresses the fact that Adam can start working for himself, not under Ravella's name. Adam gets frustrated and explains that not everything is so simple. Just because for Marklin everything is easier doesn't mean it's the same for him. Marklin explains that he worked his butt off to get this kind of lifestyle and success. Adam just shuts him down by saying that this isn't the best day for Marklin to play with his mother and teach him how to navigate life, even though all Marklin wants to do is be a supportive boyfriend. They go into a bar. They talk about the new apartment Marklin wants to buy, which makes Adam uncomfortable. Haley says that it was the first time she had been to the exhibition. Elizabeth says that it was a good night considering Adam painted mostly everything that was there. He calls him an invisible man, and as soon as he does, the world plays a trick on him, and some random people send drinks toward their table just because they noticed Marklin was standing beside them. Adam gets jealous and calls Marklin a visible man, contrasting their opposite ways of life. Haley suggests that they play drink and slap. It's a game where one person drinks the shot and the other person must slap them. Everyone likes the idea. They lay it out for some time, and it's finally Adam's turn. He looks at Marklin for some time and finally names him. Everyone feels the tension, and they even suggest that Adam should slap someone else, but Marklin stops them. This tension is rising. Adam reached the boiling point, and everyone noticed that. Before he hits Marklin, their sweet memories run through his head, but it doesn't stop him. Adam tries to take a big swing and hit Marklin, but fails miserably and hits his head on a table. He gets embarrassed and immediately leaves the place and ends up near the ice cream car. He manages to crawl inside the car and sleep there until morning comes and the owner of the car discovers him. They met at the swimming pool. He takes him to a hospital. Everyone arrives at the hospital. Adam says that he is already fine and apologizes for his behavior. He is extremely nervous because he doesn't remember if he hit Marklin or not. He calms him down. They ask him how he ended up in the hospital, and he tells them the story of how he ended up in an ice cream car. Soon the owner joins them too, and he tells Adam that they should stop meeting each other like this. Marklin gets extremely jealous and asks Adam where they met. He explains that they met each other at the gym, and this guy explains that he is not gay and Marklin shouldn't worry about it. Marklin asks everyone else to leave. He is disappointed in Adam. He is disappointed in himself as well. He explains that he doesn't know what is happening to him, and he takes the first step to ask Marklin if he has anything else outside of their relationship. He says that he doesn't. Adam urges Marklin not to have any secrets that he hides from him. Adams explains that the life he has now isn't the one he expected for himself, and he is afraid of the future. Marklin calms him down, saying that if they get past this phase, they will be invincible together. As sadly as it is, guilt is killing Marklin from the inside because he looks Adam in the eyes and deceives him. Cammy, Elizabeth, and Haley are in a shop. Haley and Cammy discuss whether it was true when Haley said that she slept with Scott. She says that she didn't, but at the same time, she has this urge to sleep with him. She thinks she loves him because Scott gives him attention no other human has ever given her. Haley thinks that he needs her. Cammy explains that it's more of a mother-son relationship than anything else. He's just too dependent on Haley, and the fact that she does everything for him isn't going to help him at all. Haley opens her eyes and decides it's time to move on from Scott. Adam is getting discharged from the hospital. Cammy arrives there to meet up with Marklin and Adam. She notices that Marklin is talking to a random doctor. She gets interested and follows him. Marklin is crying when the doctor comes to him and asks him to sign some documents because he is Carl's medical proxy. Cammy approaches Marklin. The first thing she asks is if Adam knows all of this. He shakes his head and sits down. He explains that he was going to tell Adam about this, but then he decided not to tell him. It turns out Carl was his ex, and just now he signed the DNR documents. Marklin says that he might love Carl more than he does Adam because they seem to be made for each other. But with Adam, he always has arguments and meaningless fights. Marklin suggests that he should be single and laughs at the idea, but he doesn't realize that Adam was standing right behind them and heard everything they just said. His heart was broken, his trust trampled upon, and he just turned around and walked away. Finally, Adam's house is selling. He and Elizabeth are there gathering the stuff they are going to keep or throw out. Adam feels weird because he didn't realize he would feel nostalgia or sadness when the time came for this house to sell. Elizabeth is bothered by the fact that Adam is so calm. She urges him to get angry, even about how things turned out for him and Marklin. So Adam, after a little push, starts to break things until he calms down. They sit in the yard and promise each other to move forward, no matter what has happened. Adam meets up with his father. When the waiter comes to take the order, Adam's dad says that his son is a famous painter, which upsets Adam. His father asks him how his career is going or how Marklin is. Before Adam can explain everything, the waiter returns, and Adam's father once again says that his son is going to be a famous painter shortly. Adam doesn't contain his anger and says that his father can't put people on the spot like that. He doesn't like the spotlight. His father, on the other hand, gives him a piece of advice not to ever try to settle down and to always own who he is. Adam is in his workshop. He takes a bath in an inflatable pool. He hears knocking on the door. He opens the door and sees Marklin. They look at each other before Adam invites him in. He tries to empty the pool of water. Marklin tries to help him but gets in his way, and they spill water on the floor. Marklin asks him to return home, but Adam doesn't know where the home is. Marklin pulled the offer he made for the apartment. He says that Adam was right, that apartment would belong to only him. Adam stands up and leads the way. He takes out the painting he made for Ravella and places it on the table. He says that he doesn't know why he kept it because he doesn't want to keep it, nor will he be able to sell it. It just makes him feel safe, like the upstate he sold. Marklin confesses that he felt the same thing about the apartment he was going to buy, or Carl. Adam doesn't get angry at Marklin. He says that it's the reason he fell in love with him. To begin with, he always takes care of other people, but he got extremely jealous because he wanted to be the person he would take care of the most. They apologized for the harsh things they said to each other. Both of them admit that they are not perfect and laugh about it, as it is the beginning of a new phase of their relationship. Things seem to sort themselves out for everyone. Haley finally bids her farewell to Scott. It turns out he got accepted to Penn. He thinks that he did it on his own, but he doesn't realize that Karina made it possible for him to get accepted there. On Cammie's end, she orders a cab, and when it arrives, she discovers that Henry is the driver. He admits that he has been circling her area in hopes that she would order a cab and he would appear there. He found a job and is paying the rent, and Cammie is the reason he was able to open his eyes and start living like an adult. Adam and Marklin are well dressed in costumes. Adam says that it's time for him to go. It turns out Elizabeth and Damon made up, and it's their wedding. Elizabeth immediately kisses Damon and says to wait for the words of the priest. Adam looks at Marklin, winking at him, because deep down the fear of marriage is gone from him, so he decides it is time for them to get married. They spent the entire night drinking and dancing together. The most valuable lesson they gave is that through talking and compromise, any wall can be destroyed and any obstacle overcome.